This hero of the day is going to be Anduin, probably the healer with the most consistent healing output and very good talents, weighted and balanced by his subpar heroics. He has two pretty bad heroics, and we'll go over those when it comes time. But for me, Anduin is one of the better healers. We don't see him played a lot because there's really good niche healers that can do specific things that might work well against enemy compositions. But when it comes to well-rounded healers, Anduin is that healer because he has good healing throughput. He has very good healing throughput late in the game. And he has a lot of good diversity on a couple of talents, and we'll talk about that as we get there. But for Anduin, a lot of it is making sure that you stay busy. As is the case, and I feel like I really need to stress this one. Cast Eyes is a 10-second cooldown. It does some damage, and it roots. As with every healer, try to save your roots as follow-up CC on your tanks or something else. You will find that you, as a healer, are going to do a lot more following up as opposed to just throwing out raw E's. Not only that, but that also is one of the reasons why you're probably not going to be picking any E talents. Another thing to note, your W, if you're new to Anduin, the more enemies you hit, the more healing you get on the way back. So healing increases by 25% per enemy hero hit. This can work against Samuro because each one counts as a heroic target. You can do a lot of different things around this. Against a triple range comp, probably going to be a little more difficult. We'll talk about that here in a second. So at level 1, for a long time, bold strategy was considered the de facto pick, but there was a lot of back and forth around it. And with the newer style Anduin and the way the game is played, Renew is still a very good talent. Now, there is a place and time, I think, for bold strategy. I don't think it's that bad. Actually, I think it can be really good. You get the other two talents, but your Q is on cooldown. To have really good healing throughput as Anduin, I think keeping his flash heal on a 4-second cooldown is actually very important. So having this and making sure to get that. Now, the one thing about Renew is that basic attacks against enemy heroes empower the next flash of heal to heal for 130 over 5 seconds. Now, it's a very slow hot, but it's still extra healing throughput, which means that I can Q a target, auto attack, Q another target, and then I can auto attack. And so that person that I just healed might not need that healing for that next turnaround. Since there's a 4-second downtime between your Q, you're also going to be looking at the fact that, well, maybe I can reassess at that point. And they kind of overlap, but at the same time, it allows you to reassess. Do I need to heal them again, or do I need to switch targets? Things of that nature. Maybe you can use your leap of faith. So there's a lot of good stuff you can do with Renew, but it requires you to make sure an auto attack. And a lot of people that play ranged mages or even healers have a hard time auto attacking. If you're that person, I implore you to auto attack. And if you're that person, don't worry, at level 4, it's going to get easier. I don't think that Pursued by Grace is that great when you consider it with bold strategy. So Renew, the healing throughput, you're going to see a huge difference in your healing throughput and your consistency. So those are things to consider. Bold strategy, I think if you play into it enough, you'll test this eventually and you'll kind of see the differences. But right now, Renew is where it's at. Now, if you are that person that's afraid to auto attack, because you're like, I'm scared to auto attack as a healer. I walk forward, I'm going to get punished, I'm going to die. Level 4 has Inner Fire, so it increases your attack speed, making it easier to get more consistent autos out, but it also increases your attack range by 15. This is pretty good because it gives you a lot of that consistency. It makes it a lot easier to auto attack and pairs very well with your level 1 talent. It's the tried and true synergy that is almost foolproof. And so using Renew at level 1, getting your Q healing out, and then making sure to use your Inner Fire to get that extra damage. It's a little more DPS, but it's really about that attack range to make sure and do things safer, and that helps things out a lot. Now, I actually really like Moral Compass. Divine Star fires 2 basic attacks at 2 heroes close to its apex for 70% damage. So this also is going to throw that out. This is a little harder to, I think, get value out of, but as you go on, you're going to see that we're moving into more of a W build. This can work really good. It's more damage throughput. There's a lot of value in this that you're going to get, and getting that bonus damage at the end of it. This can work good against comps that aren't necessarily diving you because the apex is at the very end of it. So if I'm going against more range poke comps, maybe this works, but I still have to consider the tank. And so your positioning is paramount if you're going to go this. I actually think this can be good, or it can be really bad, because if you're not hitting this, then kind of a dead talent, and you're trying to hit it at a specific point, which can be very difficult. So Inner Fire gives you a lot more consistency to be able to auto attack a lot of times. Thank you for that. We'll get that in a minute. So Inner Fire, I think, is going to be for people that are looking to learn Anduin. This is where you want to start at. Moral Compass is going to be something you can assess on the enemy team side and say, maybe I can try this, maybe I can't. Going E-build because you're trying to follow up on CC and throwing raw E's, because this thing has a slow travel time. Honestly, this thing is terrible, and if you do this, then good luck. Level 7. All of these are good. All of these talents are actually really good. Because they buff W build, and unless they nerf the 13 talent, the level 7 W now comes up a lot better. So I'm going to look at the enemy team and I'm like, you know what? If Anduin loses more than 18% of my maximum health, I'm going to recover 15% of my health over 3 seconds. This has a 10-second internal cooldown. So I look at the different teams. I'm like, am I going to take burst damage consistently? If so, plus recovery is really good. There's no way in the world where I'm going to be like, you know what? If I'm going to get hit by something that's going to do 8% of my maximum health, which you kind of need to look at your maximum health, see how much damage that would require. Current health required 133, pretty small. So that allows me to assess the situation. And this also means that I don't necessarily have to heal myself. However, all of these talents here are self-healing. So this can help me in a lot of situations. At the same time, I could just get a shield. If Divine Star hits an enemy hero, gain a shield that absorbs 185 damage for 4 seconds. So they're kind of on the same wavelength, and W build can be better in certain situations. The shield allows me to make sure that I have more effective health before I take that damage. So Blessed Recovery is a little bit more reliable. At the same time, casting Flash Heal on an ally heals Anduin for 115. The fact that I can just heal somebody else and heal myself at the same time, that's not too bad. So all of these are pretty much self-protection, self-healing. If I'm really just like, look, I'm afraid to branch out, I'm afraid to do some of these, I don't know what I'm going to get for my W, they don't have a lot of burst damage, which honestly 133 is not a lot of burst, then I'm going to try and find some way. Do I need instant heals? Do I need more heal over time? As a healer, I'm going to be prioritizing healing my team and doing less damage, which means that I'm normally going to be less involved in taking damage, thus making it so it's like a heal over time is normally better over 3 seconds. So there's a lot of value, I think, in Blessed Recovery. There is some value in the other talents as well. Honestly, you can't really go wrong at this one because they all are going to benefit you in some way or the other. But if I do pick Binding Heal, don't self-heal. Make sure you're casting Q on your allies and do a lot of those things to heal yourself, or to heal them while healing yourself. Level 10. Both of these talents are fairly subpar, and there's really... Holy Word Salvation can be so good, but so bad at the same time. Because it doesn't take much to disrupt Holy Word Salvation, almost every tank has some type of interrupt, knockback. A lot of different things can interrupt this. So not only that, but it's a 0.5 second channel before it even goes off. And then it's a channel after that that is 3 seconds. Now, I'm going to heal my team for up to 25% of their max health, and they're protected. So that can be really good. But because there's so many interrupts, this doesn't work well. The only time I think I really like this is if I'm going against a Pyroblast, then I can just put this down on my teammate, keep them from dying with protected, and that an 80-second cooldown is worth it. Light Bomb, however, is the normal pick. Imbue an allied hero with light. After 1.5 seconds, it explodes, dealing damage and stunning them. The target gains a shield that absorbs 165 damage per enemy hero hit. Lasts for 5 seconds. So if I have a tank that's going in or somebody that's being dove, hopefully they live for 1.5 seconds. I'm going to try and Light Bomb heal them. And they live long enough, then they get a shield so that I can continue to get a lot of that in there. This can work out really well against dive comps. You can do so many different things. You can self-cast this. Somebody gets rooted, you self-cast, you walk up, you light bomb them, all of a sudden you've got a root stun combo. It's on a 60-second cooldown, so you should be using this in basically every single team fight, and this helps you out a lot to maybe protect somebody, but there's no guarantee that your teammate doesn't get blown up in 1.5 seconds. If that's the case, maybe you're pulling them. Don't pull a target that you have a light bomb on because you're defeating one or versus the other. For what it's worth, this is better because you can be more aggressive with it. You can use this offensively. You can use this defensively. There's a lot of different things you can do with this. Salvation, there's a lot of tools that you can use this around. The fact that it's easily interrupted, though, makes it a little tough. Light Bomb is going to be the pick for most of your games. I'd say pretty much all of your games, because you're always going to find some creative way to use it, thus meaning it's going to be far more reliable to save people or to do damage. A quick tip, if you are playing with an ETC, it's very tempting. I saw this when I was leveling a Smurf. Very tempting to see ETC like chilling. He's got 3 or 4 people in a mosh pit, and it's like, boom, 1 second in, I'm pressing R on him. I'm doing some damage, baby. Consider the idea of staggering your CC instead of stacking your CC. If I have somebody that has that long of a stun, if it's a Garrosh stun or Garrosh taunt, I'm going to place it on him immediately because this has a 1.5 second channel. By the time that wears off, I can stun them again. Stacking CC. If it's an ETC on a mosh pit, I want to wait till the latter end of that mosh pit, assuming he's going to get the full duration and there's no interrupts. If he is, maybe I use it a little bit earlier so I get that extra stun that wears off and he has a shield. If he's like 20% health and there's still 1 or 2 people attacking him, yeah, go ahead and light bomb him. But don't stack it. Don't stagger. Don't stack it if you don't have to. Stagger your CC. That way you get a longer chain of CC. Level 13. Now this is the talent that really changed everything. Before, you would get bonus movement speed, and that was pretty much it. Then they come through a few months back from this video. Each allied hero healed by Divine Star on its return to Anduin reduces its cooldown by 1 second, meaning that your healing throughput is going to go through the roof post level 13. Because this is going to go out and heal on the way back. The more people I hit on the way out, great. More healing on the way back. More people I hit on the way back, even better. Because it has the built-in movement speed, I get 30% movement speed. Sometimes you play with people and they don't quite realize what Anduin's heal does. Then they might get there too late, or they'll just run away from your healing. This allows you to potentially get 1 or 2 extra targets so that you can heal them while they're running away from you, or it can actually help you get to safety. There's a lot of different things you can do with the movement speed, but the cooldown reduction on this now is superb. This thing is actually really good. As a result, it's a 9-second cooldown. And the best part about this is that the cooldown starts when you cast. So on the way back, that cooldown, let's say you ran backwards, that cooldown might already be 7 seconds. I hit 3 people, boom, it's on a 4-second cooldown. I hit 4 people, it's on a 5-second cooldown, on a 4-second cooldown, on a 3-second cooldown. Because the cooldown goes when you cast it, not when it comes back. Hoping I'm saying that right. So when you get that, you get the cooldown reduction, which means that you can pump out W's a lot. As long as your team recognizes that. If you're playing in certain leagues, you might want to be like, hey, make sure and stand on the big yellow shiny thing. It's good for you. So because of that, the cooldown reduction on this is really good. Makes things a lot easier to get that cooldown reduction, thus playing into W build, which does give now more value to Moral Compass and a Power Word Shield. Doesn't mean you shouldn't go the other ones. It just means that it adds more value to those. Now 16. I'm going to be honest with you. There's such a debate when I talk to people about this that I feel like no matter what I say, somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong and somebody's going to tell me I'm right. All of these are good. Holy Nova pairs very well with the W build that you're going. After I catch the Divine Star, it's going to explode around me doing damage and doing heals in a small AoE around me. If I'm playing with a ranged composition, I'll just run back to my teammates, hit them with it. They don't even know that they're getting bonus healing most of the time. Inner Focus is actually really good because this means that I can instantly heal, activate to reset the cooldown of Flash Heal, and its next heal casts for 40% more. So this is kind of that uh-oh button, and this can be good in another scenario. Damaging enemy heroes with Divine Star reduces the cooldown by 8 seconds. Again, pairing well with the level 13 talent. So you have 2 talents here that are directly related to the W at 13 and the cooldown reduction. Because 20-second cooldown, and I can cast out that W potentially 2 times instantly, and damaging it reduces it by 8 seconds. That means my Q has potential to just have like crazy healing output. So a lot of these things are weighted based on how you play. Inner Focus is really good for that reason because it is based around your W. So getting your W out, getting the cooldown reduction, which reduces your instant heal, so I can instantly reset Q again, and then get bonus 40% healing. It's an insane amount. It does start to wear on you mana-wise, which is why you need to be very careful using your E. If you use your E a lot, go back to the very first point, you're going to be out of mana. Trust me. Don't spam your E. As far as the other one goes, even-handed blessings. I actually don't mind this when I'm playing against like a Lunara, so that I can heal over here, then heal over there, then heal over here, and heal over there. As long as I'm not hitting the same target, I get more healing from that, and I get 50% of its cooldown reduction. This can actually be another form of insane healing throughput. Not only that, but it's just good healing throughput no matter what. All of these are good, and you're leaving out the most interesting one. Lightwell. Summon a Lightwell that periodically heals an ally, and it fades away after healing 10 times or when recast. This cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time Anduin heals an allied hero. Back to your W. Cooldown reduction means more healing throughput, which means more cast, which means more heals, which means more cooldown reduction. So not only that, but it also works from your Q. And other things as well. So Lightwell, I really only use this when I know that I have a dive comp that's going to be in a certain area. My W might not be as quick as I need it. I might not be able to get inner focus as quickly as I want. My Q might need to be prioritized in multiple places. Lightwell is a pretty unique talent. I actually like this and hate this at the same time. I know people that don't like it. I know people that do like it. All of these talents are good. Inner focused, very reliable. Holy Nova, very reliable. Even-handed blessings, very reliable. It's almost like you can't go wrong at 16. I would say try each of them and see which one feels best for you. Inner focus, I would start there. Holy Nova can also be really good. And then start to branch out on the other ones. Even-handed blessings, again, there'll be a little icon underneath them so you know whether you've healed them or not. And you can just switch targets back and forth. It creates a slightly different feel and a different flow to the game, so it's up to you. As far as level 20 goes, there's 2 talents that I like, but it's dependent on how the enemy team is and how my team is. And then there's a 3rd talent, which is just like, you know what, no matter what, this is going to be fine. Glyph of Faith says that I get a second charge of my D, which is a pull, which we haven't really talked about. So all right, you guys are going to have to hold on. This is actually going to be AFK in the video. So at level 20, Varian's Legacy is fine. If I know I need more self-healing and my team's okay with my general healing, I can go Varian's Legacy and feel fine. If I need basically double cleanse because my team, the enemy team has a ton of CC and my team loves eating CC for some reason and doesn't have ways to hold against that, I'll go second decharge. This can be really good to save 2 people on your team versus a lot of CC in the late game. Desperate Prayer can also be really good. Activate to desperately heal an allied hero for 540, but kneel for 2 seconds unable to act. This can be good, but you can also be interrupted and you leave yourself vulnerable. To put this into perspective, at level 0, this is basically about 1/3 of your health or 40% of the health of a ranged assassin. It's about 20% or less of a tank, potentially even 15, 16% of a few tanks. But so for that reason, you got to keep that in mind. This is anywhere between, say, a 15% heal and a 35% heal, depending on who you're using it on, but it's also a very quick heal. Because of this, there's a lot of things to consider. If I already went inner focus and I have extreme cooldown reduction, if I went even-handed blessings and I have cooldown reduction, maybe I don't need desperate prayer because I'm already my healing. No matter what, if you have all of your buttons, desperate prayer might need to be used because your Q has a channel time of 0.75 seconds. You might not have that. So healing that can be the difference between life and death for somebody. And I think all of these are good. Light of Stormwind, they buffed this some time ago to where your teammates are invulnerable instead of protected, but it doesn't affect Anduin, and because you're generally going light bomb anyways, you're probably not going to go this. This does have a place. I'm not a big fan of Salvation. I think it has a place, and you'll find that, oh, I should have picked Salvation here. You're just going to have to learn from those. So level 20 all has good talents. It just depends on the enemy team and what I need for myself or for my team. Double pull if they've got a lot of CC. If I just need a little more self-healing and some extra damage for our team, Varian's Legacy. If I need that single target heal that I'm just like, oh man, like I desperately need to heal this somebody. Luckily, there's something with the word desperate in it that allows me to heal called Desperate Prayer. So for that reason, Anduin, a lot of it is having a lot of healing throughput in terms of consistency. I'm going to Q a lot. I'm going to auto attack so that my Q gets more value. I'm going to get more range if I'm going to play safe and more DPS. I can also go into Moral Compass and get some of the same value, but also more weighted into my W build. Blessed Recovery feels good, but all of these are okay. Level 10, Light Bomb. Level 13, Speed of the Pious, 100%. 100%. The cooldown reduction on this will change the entire way you play Anduin for the rest of the game, and your healing throughput goes through the roof. Level 16, all of these can be good. Inner Focus, Holy Nova, both pretty consistent. Even-handed Blessings, pretty good. Lightwell, more of a niche situation. And then Glyph of the Faith, Desperate Prayer, and Varian's Legacy all are based around what I need for my team in the late game. And if you don't know by the time you're level 20, then you haven't been paying attention. Is my team getting blown up by CC? Do I need more healing for myself? Is my team suffering from more single target damage that maybe I can help? And I don't really need to worry about getting the pull because I need to just heal through it and then we turn the fight. Things like that can be night and day. Just remember Desperate Prayer. You can be interrupted and you leave yourself vulnerable. So a lot of that goes into what Anduin does. He's really strong overall. His consistency is there. The problem with his consistency is there's normally, again, more niche situations of other healers that can do a lot of the same things, but they have better heroics and thus pushing Anduin down. But at the same time, because he's so consistent, he's simultaneously good and vulnerable at the same time. Your Light Bomb usage will determine whether you are doing well with Anduin or doing bad with Anduin. Your Light Bomb will determine, or your Leap of Faith will determine whether you're doing good or bad. Compared to somebody, say like Deckard, who has more CC, more big potions right now with Ruby, there's normally that value that I'm getting more consistent potions from Deckard. I'm getting easier CC from Deckard, and I'm getting more of that AoE heals or more supplemental heals from those small potions, which is why I think right now, if Deckard wasn't so overtuned with Ruby, you might be seeing more of Deckard. I think when we look at the different ways of the meta shaping out, Anduin can be good in niche situations. He can be good in all situations. But overall, I think right now he is a healthy B+, A tier. But it's hard to figure out where to put him because there's so many situations where I'm going to pick a healer that specializes in an area versus doesn't specialize in an area. And you've got to play around those things accordingly. Anduin's pretty good right now. I would implore you, if you're a healer man and you're looking, what do I try next? What haven't I tried? Anduin's really good. Ever since they buffed that 13, his healing throughput gone way up and can be pretty good. So that's Anduin.